Hey everybody, this is Toby Eunice with the Gypsy's Kiss. Stick with me a couple of seconds and I'll introduce you to Rodney Greenway. So before I start my conversation with Rodney, I just want to let you folks know that if any of you want to participate in our It's All About You series of searcher videos, I'll put a link in the description box below this video, and it's going to take you to questionnaire.gypsyskiss.tv. Please fill out the questionnaire, and then we're just going through the list of people that have filled out the questionnaire already. When I get to you, I'll contact you, and we'll plan this kind of interview, this recorded interview that we're doing tonight. Okay, Rodney, thank you very much for agreeing to participate in the campaign. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So before we start, I want to ask you, before we start with the regular questions, I want to ask you a couple of other things. First of all, where can people find you on YouTube, and what's your Gmail address, if you care to share it, where they can reach out to you?
All right, my YouTube channel is just Rodney Greenway. The show titles are Fenn Treasure Thoughts, and you can reach me at fenntreasurethoughts@gmail.com.
Great. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about was about who you are. But whenever I ask that question, generally speaking, I'm asking someone unlike you and Jason Dent, who's not in the military. So tell us a little bit about your service. Where are you in the service? How did you get to where you are?
I am currently in Fort Benning, Georgia. I'm a Sergeant First Class. I've been in the military for 9 years. I'm in the Army. And I've been to Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Lewis, Washington, and now here in Fort Benning, Georgia. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan. So as far, that's it for my service.
So I was at Fort Benning for Ranger training. Are you associated with the Ranger School there?
I am an instructor at Ranger School.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I have to share with you, about a year ago, I happened to be watching a National Geographic program on the new brand, the latest iteration of Ranger training, and honestly, I don't think I could have survived it. So I'm very impressed with the fact that you're an instructor there. Yeah. So congratulations on that. You seem very young to be a Sergeant First Class, though. So you must have paid some dues someplace.
I get that a lot. I'm actually 29. Oh. I just look young.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still kind of young, I guess. I feel old. My body's broken down already.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your service. Truly appreciate it. And congratulations on the achievements. So let's go to you as a person. Who is Rodney Greenway, the civilian part of you?
The civilian part of me, kind of, I'm kind of a recluse, like to just sit in my house, kind of research stuff. I like to metal detect for a hobby, go fishing, do outdoor stuff, camping and stuff like that. I have a family. I have a wife, and we've been married for 9 years just the other day, together for 10. And then I have 2 daughters. One is 7, and the other one just turned 3.
Oh, congratulations. Sounds a great little family. And a puppy, a dog, was it?
I have 3 dogs,
okay.
And they all drive me nuts.
That's what it is, yeah. And so you're living in Georgia. Let's get on to the questionnaire and talk about some of the things that I asked you when we conducted the interview. So the first thing is, in what year did you start searching for the Forrest Fenn treasure?
I started searching, like legitimately researching, around 2017, late 2017, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about it for a while prior to that, just never got around to looking at it for different reasons other than procrastination. So,
and what this wasn't in the questionnaire, but I'm just curious, what got you to the point where you were interested in the Forrest Fenn treasure, to the point that you were expressing your opinions on a YouTube channel? How did that transition take place?
So when I was actually big into researching treasure legends, like Spanish treasures, and looking at treasure signs and symbols and stuff like that. And about 2 years ago, that's when I came across Forrest Fenn. I read a little bit into it, but I decided to ignore it until I had the time to actually sit down myself and look at the poem. So I made sure I avoided anything like forums or solutions and stuff like that. And I actually had a job with where I'm working at now, a tasking to where I had a decent amount of time off. So I said, all right, let's pull out the poem. And I actually had time to sit down and take a look at it. And then after I read that poem the first time, I was hooked. I'd say wasn't too long after the fact that I started making YouTube videos. So.
Well, they're very well done, very thoughtful. I know that a lot of viewers watch it just for the, intellectual stimulation that you provide to them. I'm real impressed with your work, and of course, people should know that you're a member of our panel team and invited to participate in panels. Now we limit the room, of course, to 6, so Rodney doesn't always get in, but he always gets an invitation, and then when we can, we'll try to get him in. So I like his style of conversation. So, in what state do you feel like Fenn hid the treasure?
My original solution was in Colorado. I've kind of wiped the slate completely clean as of recently, which I didn't think I was going to be able to just drop solves like that. But and looking at some more stuff throughout the book and the poem, I'm pursuing something. I just don't know what it is that I'm looking for quite yet. So. As of right now, I don't necessarily have a state.
Oh, so you're resolving it in a more generic way?
Yeah, I guess.
Einsteinian look at the big picture?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, honestly, we're going through a very similar phase, and I'm going to suggest you don't feel bad about changing, your solution, because we've had, I don't know, 5 or 6 iterations in the time that I've been looking since 2013, where I throw everything out and start all over again. Right. And I think that's a wise thing to do. And we just, if you've watched our shows this week, we've just done that again. So let's take that just a little bit further. Not that you have to tell me what your state is or what you're looking at in terms of your solution, but what are your big motivations? What is it about what you're looking at and learning right now that's moving you in that direction?
Honestly, at this point, it's just a curiosity. I'm more intrigued about the book and meanings in the book than I think I am about the treasure. Mm-hmm. Something about it is just, poking at me, like antagonizing me, and so now it's just a matter of trying to figure it out. And that's my motivation. I picked it up, so I'm not used to just setting something down after I start something. So it's like I'm either in it until it gets found or until I physically can't go any farther. So,
as you probably know, and most of the people that are watching this probably know, at the beginning of the year, back in February, Fenn mentioned he had a gut feeling that the treasure would be found this summer. Since then, he's wavered, by using the word wavering, on that matter. So in what year do you feel like the Fenn treasure will be found?
I honestly, I don't know if Fenn just said that to get a rise out of us for both of those quotes, but I mean, there's been a lot of people going after it and researching every day, every chance that they can get, as many boots on the ground as they can get. And we've gone 8 years. And I just have a feeling it's probably going to be at least 8 more.
So not this year, not next year. We're going to have to wait a while.
I don't think it's going to be found this summer.
So he's going to be 88 next month. What are the chances that the treasure will outlive Forrest Fenn?
I'm hoping that it's found before that time comes. I think he wants it found before he passes away as well. But whatever he did, I mean, he did it good, because 15 years to write a poem, we're not going to crack it in a year or two.
I agree. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty of you. What do you believe is the percent probability of you actually finding the treasure?
I would like to say 100%, but I like to be realistic too. I can't put a percentage on it. I'm just, I'm going to try my hardest and stay optimistic about it and try to look at things from, a different perspective. Maybe not necessarily just the surface reading. Maybe we don't have to go where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down. Could be something entirely different. So I'm just looking at all angles.
And how many times have you been boots on the ground?
I was boots on the ground once, and I went from Georgia, drove to Montana, down into Wyoming, and then into Utah and over into Colorado.
So you were actually trying out more than one solution, it sounds like.
I was, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's my biggest thing. So I had a solution. After I read the poem the first time, within 3 hours, like that's it. I solved it. I'm going, and I decided that before I leave, I want to come up with at least 5 more solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, in case the first one is wrong, then I have some plan B, C, D, and E. But that's what concerns me the most, is the fact that I was able to come up with 5 different solutions. Lets me know that, hey, maybe it's time to start looking at it in a different way other than the surface reading.
Reducing the number of solutions.
Yeah, or reducing the way that it's read.
So how long did that trip, how long were you on that trip?
I was gone for 9 days, I think. It was, I drove straight through. I work for like 32 hours at a time, and the drive was 30 hours, with all the stopping
Mm-hmm.
and fuel and getting food. So I pushed straight through. I arrived in Butte, Montana, got a hotel for the night and went right out the next morning, and I camped the whole time. I brought some MREs with me, so I didn't have to buy.
Oh, yum. MREs. Mm.
And I pretty much just roughed it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
So no family in attendance?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It sounds like you would have just beat them up if you had done that with the family in tow.
Yeah.
So how does your significant other feel about all this?
I have a feeling she doesn't feel the greatest about it. It definitely consumes me a little bit, so I have to remember, it's like, oh yeah, you got other stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
But she tolerates it. I'm waiting for her snapping point where she's just like, that's it.
That's it. No more.
I'm throwing these books in the trash right on top of Time magazine, so.
Well, I believe that most of us who have a significant other have experienced the same thing sooner or later. We were having a conversation with a journalist day before yesterday, and the topic of how the people around you handle it, because apparently he's on the East Coast, and he had run into a lot of people who think not only is it crazy, not only is it a hoax, but the people that are searching it are searching for it are complete idiots. He had this real he had picked up on this real negative vibe from people who weren't involved. So
I made the mistake of telling people at work about it. They all think I'm nuts.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're seriously going to drive to the Rocky Mountains on summer leave to go look for a treasure?
Yeah, a bunch of pragmatic rangers giving you advice, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been to Colorado, you've been to Wyoming, you've been to Montana, but not New Mexico. Why not New Mexico?
Yeah, I didn't want to think it was in New Mexico. I didn't want to think it was in Yellowstone either. I was completely opposed to that. And when I left Montana heading down to Colorado, I said, hey, we got to drive by it anyways. Let's go check out Yellowstone. And my solution there was prompted by the little map that I get going through the gate. I seen the little line going around, and I was like, what is that line? It says Caldera.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked that up. It's like, oh, Spanish for cauldron.
Right.
That whole little line is where warm waters are within. And, it just happened to end. The line stopped right at the Grand Canyon, or the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. And then there was the Lower Falls, which was painted by Gerthel Brown. And I was like, that's it. That's all there is to it. I thought for sure I was going to find the treasure that day too.
Don't feel bad. We had a very similar solution, and then we had one that took us north instead of south. So I think everybody goes through that at least once. So you told me that you have all 3 of Fenn's memoirs. Have you purchased any of his other books, and what did you think of them?
So I just have Once Upon a While and Too Far to Walk and The Thrill of the Chase. I actually just got Once Upon a While and Too Far to Walk. I had to wait about a month for those books to make it there. They were waiting for Fenn to come in and sign them. Oh. But I have not read any of the other books. I probably will buy them just out of curiosity. I haven't read any of the scrapbooks. Mm-hmm. So, part of me feels like if it's anything separate from The Thrill of the Chase, then it's just extra clutter, because The Thrill of the Chase was what was made when he hid the treasure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But then part of me thinks, well, it went so long without anybody figuring it out that he put out other books that contain more, maybe not so subtle hints, you know, just to try to throw us a bone and help us out. And he already said he's not trying to, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Mislead us?
Yeah, he's not trying to deceive us or
Right.
fool us. You know, he's already admitted that. So anything within those books has to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a rabbit hole, like a legitimate rabbit hole, or whether it just seems like a rabbit hole to make you think that it's a rabbit hole, but it's actually very helpful.
I am reminded that I think it was Collected Works back in October of 2013, where he was having a conversation with one of the two gentlemen that was on the that were on the dais with him, Michael McGarity and Douglas Preston, and I kind of remember him saying something like, not to the audience, but to them. I picked it up because my microphone was there, and he said something like, "I've never given out a hint or a clue that's really going to be helpful, you know, other than what's in the book." So I've taken him at his word when it comes to that. So in this most recent article that David Kirshner wrote in Wired Magazine, Fenn says something, and I'm going to have to paraphrase here, that the internet isn't going to be helpful, that what you need is a good map and a good compass and a bottle of water. I'm not certain, well, I am certain that I'm not in agreement with that. If it wasn't for the internet, I don't think I'd be as far along this as I have. How do you feel about it? What kind of help does the internet provide you in your research?
You know, I every time I go to reread the book, I can't make it through the first 2 chapters before I'm pulling out my computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell myself every time, it's like, Fenn says that he wanted to get people away from the computer, get away from electronics. Maybe
Right.
that's him. Maybe that's him hinting towards just use the book and the poem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, there was Jenny Kyle asked how he felt about, you know, what the chase had become, if he had anticipated what it has become. And he says, you know, like, pretty much I knew it was going to do okay, but what I didn't anticipate was the amount of people downloading Google Earth.
Right.
Well, think of a good map. And nowadays, that's where people go to, Google Maps or Google Earth. But he's saying stay away from electronics, saying keep people away from electronics. So maybe he's saying, like, of course he would anticipate people downloading Google Earth. So he's throwing us another bone there, saying, like, it might help, but it's not necessary.
And maybe that's closer to what he said to Kirshner, that you need the book and a good map, is how he described it. And then the internet isn't going to help you. I think, again, Fenn is notorious, I believe, for his underestimations of things. And I can find a really good quad map, you know, a Nat Geo 7.5-minute quad map, and that map is not going to give me, and I missed it because they're not around anymore, but that map is not going to give me the levels, the various levels, and the amount of detail that I can get just by going to GMap4, which uses Google Earth as its source. So I not, you know, trusting a handheld map is okay. But I can get far more detail, including satellite imagery and topographic imagery of a single location than I can from a map. So I'm not quite sure that I agree with him that the internet isn't useful. So how much time, and if you don't want to answer this because your wife may one day see this video, how much time do you spend every week researching?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even tell you.
It's that much.
I couldn't even tell you. Like, it has gotten to the point where it's like, it's frustrating, but I can't put it down. You know, that's why I said on your last show, if, like, for me to end this chase, it would have to be my wife saying, like,
yeah,
like, it's the treasure or me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
well,
it's a lot of research.
Mrs. Greenway, if you're watching this, the good news is the Ranger School will keep him busy during the daytime, and searching for Fenn's treasure will keep him busy at night up until it's time for him to go to bed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What you need to
There's
do.
not much room for anything else.
Yeah,
You know?
so set the alarm and tell him what time he has to hit the sack. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, last question before we end this episode, and that is, what advice would you give to the searcher, and this article is going to create another wave of searchers coming into, what advice would you give to the searcher just coming into the chase?
For people just coming into the chase, I would probably say be yourself, have your own opinions. Don't be afraid to express them. Don't be afraid to keep stuff to yourself either. And try to stay away from videos or forums or anything that talk about solutions. Try to keep your mind free of anything that is solution related, or this is what brown means, this is what warm water's halt. So that way it can't influence your own thought process.
So your solutions are original.
Right.
Right. All right. So before I close up, let me give you one last opportunity to tell people how they can find you, where they can find you, and how to get in contact with you.
All right. You can get in contact with me at fenntreasurethoughts@gmail.com. I always respond, so feel free to shoot me an email. And then my YouTube channel is Rodney Greenway, just like my name. And then the videos are titled Fenn Treasure Thoughts.
All right. And of course, you can find us at gypsyskiss.tv. And if you want to participate in our It's All About You campaign, I will put a link to our questionnaire in the description box below. Click on that link, fill out the questionnaire, and as your time comes up after the number that we've already got, I'll get in touch with you via email and invite you to do an interview very similar to this one. It's real easy. If you have are you on your phone tonight?
I am,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah, you can use your phone and the headset that comes with your phone. Rodney, thank you very much for joining me tonight in this conversation. It was very informative. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support, and thanks for having me on.
Take care.
Thanks.